Hello, comrades. I know that a while ago I made a follow-up to my video, the CPUSA Modern-Day Trotskyism, wherein I essentially defended the decision of the CPUSA to back Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election. Well, after a lot of reflecting and thinking about how the party functions and how members of the party act, I realized I was wrong in doing so. So once again, I say, fuck the CPUSA. Call me a fucking ultra-left, call me an ideological purist, tell me that I'm living in a fantasy world and that I need to stop LARPing revolution, call me a chauvinist, whatever. Nothing that you call me will stop the fact that backing Hillary Clinton in the grand scheme was a terrible decision and a huge blemish on the already soiled reputation of the CPUSA. The reason that I made that follow-up video was because somebody from Comrade Lenin's Dank Meme Stash before it became a shit show, they vehemently criticized me and the original video, saying that not backing Hillary made me an idealist, it made me a social chauvinist. Basically, not a good Marxist-Leninist. So I reflected on what he said and did some self-critique of my own ideals. But now I realize that defending the decision of the CPUSA was very, very wrong. First of all, I would like to address that recognizing the necessity of violent revolution does not equate to somebody playing Bolshevik and being stuck in nostalgia for the Soviet Union or whatever. If I said that that was the only one thing we could do, and that any involvement in parliamentary means would be useless, then yeah, you would have a point. I would be an ultra-left. But I've never denied that working through electoral means to at least garner some progress was a good thing. There's a difference between LARPing and being against revisionism. And that's what the CPUSA is. Nothing more than a revisionist shell of its former self. It's a beacon of revisionism. It's not that being active in parliamentary politics makes them revisionists. What makes them revisionists is A, that they handle parliamentary politics so fucking terribly, and B, that they've completely ignored even the potential of violent revolution. You can't be a Marxist-Leninist party and then just completely ignore what Lenin said.
But from this capitalist democracy that is inevitably narrow and stealthily pushes aside the poor, and is therefore hypocritical and false through and through, forward development does not proceed simply, directly and smoothly, towards greater and greater democracy, as the liberal professors and petty bourgeois opportunists would have us believe. No, forward development, that is, development towards communism, proceeds through the dictatorship of the proletariat, and cannot do otherwise, for the resistance of the capitalist exploiters cannot be broken by anyone else or in any other way, and the dictatorship of the proletariat, that is, the organization of the vanguard of the oppressed as the ruling class for the purpose of suppressing the oppressors, cannot result merely in an expansion of democracy. Simultaneously with an immense expansion of democracy, which for the first time becomes democracy for the poor, democracy for the people, and not democracy for the money bags, the dictatorship of the proletariat imposes a series of restrictions on the freedom of the oppressors, the exploiters, the capitalists. We must suppress them in order to free humanity from wage slavery. Their resistance must be crushed by force. It is clear that there is no freedom and no democracy where there is suppression and where there is violence.
I mean, for fuck's sake, they backed Hillary Clinton. Sure, they didn't officially endorse Hillary Clinton, but by urging people, mainly fucking self-proclaimed communists, to go out and vote for a bourgeois liberal, that's essentially what you're doing. Rhetorically, they may not have been outright endorsing her, but their actions show that it was basically an endorsement of one of the most bourgeois politicians in the current era. Telling people to go and vote for someone is essentially an endorsement. Just because you say it isn't doesn't change the fact that it is by action. They've fallen into lesser evilism and have been stuck in that pit for a long time. Like, yeah, Hillary as president would be very slightly preferable. But that's only in very small sections of the whole of her politics. Yes, things would be slightly better domestically, but what of the rest of the world? Let's not forget that thanks to Hillary Clinton, Gaddafi was fucking murdered, and now there are slave trades going on in Libya. Let's not forget that she would still be upholding neoliberal economics and completely fucking over countries like Yemen and Libya and other countries. And let's not forget that she has even said that she was all for bombing Syria and adding to the campaign of destabilizing the country's government and having Bashar al-Assad taken out of office. If your socialism isn't international, And I don't mean fucking permanent revolution or anything like that, so don't try to call me a Trotskyist or a left comm or whatever. Then your socialism is bullshit. By telling people to vote for Hillary, you're essentially backing the further destruction of the Middle East and Latin America. Some people in the United States don't have the luxury of seeing Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton as essentially the same. Yes. But you know who else that applies to? The people living in war-torn countries that people like Hillary helped to fucking put into that state of terror and destruction. Regardless of who is in office, these people are gonna be seeing fucking their friends and family die from drone strikes and shit like ISIS, who, as we know, the USA essentially helped create. In essence, imperialism is still imperialism regardless of what brush you want to paint it with. If you're not working to help both the oppressed people in your own country and the people that your nation have completely fucked, then what are you doing? You're placing too much emphasis on not having a fucking Republican as the President of the United States. It's not getting you anywhere. That's fucking liberalism. And if anything, it makes you look like a tool because you end up supporting the same people that you should be against. I mean, yeah, domestically, as we've said before, there are slight difference to having the Democrats in power, but internationally and overall in general, it's the same shit. Republican or Democrat, they're gonna do whatever they can to protect their capital and to protect the American empire, fucking over anybody who doesn't want to be a slave to US imperialism by placing sanctions and embargoes on different countries. You can't really stand in solidarity with Venezuela while simultaneously pushing for somebody who worked towards sabotaging the Bolivarian Revolution and even compared Hugo Chavez to Donald fucking Trump. The CPUSA is essentially participating in a watered-down form of entryism with all that they try to do with the Democratic Party. Some members of the CPUSA have said they'll work with any and all progressive allies to defeat fascism and the Trump agenda. How the fucking Democratic Party of the United States is a progressive ally is beyond me. Bombing Middle Eastern countries, fucking over workers and labor unions, and aiding in the fucking over of Latin American countries fighting for socialism, and having very slight superficial differences with the conservatives isn't very progressive. Having coalition with the bourgeois Democrats isn't progressive, it isn't revolutionary, it's fucking counterproductive and actually harms the workers and oppressed people rather than benefiting them. Working with people that literally have harmed the cause of socialists and workers in general isn't going to get you any further in establishing socialism. You need to have a coalition with the working class and with other good leftist groups, not with people who have a history of fucking over and being against actual progressive forces, nor with people who still think that calling Donald Trump Drumpf is a legitimate criticism. Should some compromises be made? Yes, if strategically beneficial to the socialist cause. But Hillary Clinton is not one of those compromises. The CPUSA is awful. They're awful now, they'll likely be awful in the future, and for the most part, after William Z. Foster, I believe, they have an awful history. Not only through revisionism and opportunism, but through extremely reactionary decisions as well. We can't forget that the CPUSA fucking supported the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II, all to show that the party was loyally an American group. Really fucking progressive and communistic, fellas. The CPUSA is not a fucking vanguard of the working class. Anybody claiming otherwise is lying to themselves. The only reason that I could see anybody joining the CPUSA is because they're just recently getting into Marxism, and that's the very first organization that they figure out about. Join the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Join the American Party of Labor. Join almost any leftist organization that isn't the CPUSA. Hell, even the Democratic Socialists of America are better than the CPUSA. The so-called Communist Party of the USA is in the modern day not designed to benefit the working class in any fashion. It's a sellout group that would need a major overhaul to be respectable again. Is it possible? I think so, yes. But will it likely happen anytime soon? Probably not. Before I end this video, I just have one little thing that I would like to address. This channel is a little past 450 subscribers, and I think it would be really wonderful to get this channel to over 500 subscribers by the end of 2018. To put a little more incentive into reaching this goal, if I reach 500 subs by the end of 2018, I will upload a full vocal cover of the Soviet National Anthem. If that's something you would want to hear, Please make sure to spread this video along with any other videos that I upload in the future and some of my past ones around on social media and blogs and whatnots, all that stuff like that. I'm Jymee Casual. Thank you for watching.